everyone, welcome to Chuck's Diecast Car and Model Reviews. Today we're taking a look at this car. This is the BMW 850i. This particular model is made by Maisto and is in 1/18 scale. And well, I've had this model for a while. It's not a particularly good model, but since there are no other models of the 850i available, I picked up this model because I am a fan of the 850i, and so I had to get one. For those of you who don't know about the 850i, it's kind of unfortunate that this is kind of a little known BMW, which is kind of weird in that it really, was a milestone vehicle for BMW, and that it was the first BMW with a V12 in it. It had a 5-liter V12 in it, which is where the 850 comes from, with about 300 horsepower, although over its span of production, which was only about 7 years, it was increased in size up to about, I think it was a 5.6 liter and up to about 375 horsepower. It really didn't sell all that well, and I think the reason why is because, this is not a sports car. It's not a sedan. It's a two-door with a really minimal back seat in it. This is basically a Grand Tourer. Okay, this is the car that you hop into, when you live at your banker and you live in Frankfurt and you want to drive down to, Monaco or something for the weekend, and you hop in this car and cruise at high speed down there, and it's really, like I said, a highway cruiser. So it was, that type of car, I guess you could say, it probably gone out of fashion by the early 90s, so it just didn't sell all that well. In fact, sales were poor enough that they, after a couple of years, they came out with a less expensive version with a 4-liter V8 in it, and it was called the 840i, and it actually only had about 20 less horsepower than the original 850. Sadly, I had the possibility of buying one of these many years ago. There was a guy who actually moved into the house across the street from me who had one. It looked to be in good shape except for the fact that it had a dent in the left front fender. And so he moved into that house, and I saw it parked out front, and I thought, well, really, I should go and introduce myself and tell him that if you're thinking of selling this 840i, let me know, because I want to buy it. However, within maybe a month of him moving into that house, he had sold that car, and I think he actually tragically bought a Jetta. I could have had one. But nope, no such luck. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this model. Now, really, if I could have bought a better quality model of this, I would have, but I don't think I've ever seen another model of this car. This model is pretty bad. This model, I don't know if you can see it, but it has some of the worst orange peel I have ever seen on any model. This looks like it was painted by like an 8-year-old or something. I mean, it is bad. This is probably the nadir of quality control there at Maisto, back in the 90s. It's really, really pretty awful for the paint. And it has a couple other niggling things that I'll show you as well. However, I guess you could say the high point might be the wheels and the tires here. I mean, they don't look too bad. I think these are BBS wheels on there, and they look pretty decent. It looks like they have, single nut wheels, but I believe that these, like other BMWs, the center was just a cover over the lug nuts, and it had, it was probably a 5-bolt lug. The tires, as you can see, are Pirelli Cinturados, so those look all right. The front end looks actually fairly decent. The kidney grille is pretty neat. It looks all right, although they are a little bit out of kilter, it looks like, just to my eye. The driving lights and turn signals look okay, except for the ubiquitous black peg hole, which you would see in so many models of the era. Thank God they've resolved that issue. When you take a look under the hood, I actually like how these 850s have the holes cut in the hood for the pop-up headlights. I think that's pretty neat. But you can see actually let me put a little bit of light on here. The engine doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's actually got nice detail. You can see that, that it has intakes for each of the bank of cylinders on each side. In fact, I remember some years ago, I was at my mechanic and there was an 850i there, and I said, "Hey, what's this in here for?" And he showed me that the fan clutch for the radiator had failed on the car. The fan had seized. All the blades flew off the fan and punctured the air boxes, both air boxes on either side of the engine. And I think those air boxes were like $1,000 a piece. So it was a real bummer for the owner of the vehicle. So taking a look at the back here, again, look at that lovely orange peel on the trunk lid. But at least the detail on the lights looks okay. For the era, you've got the quad tail lights, and the trunk opens to show you the spare tire. But as you can see underneath the trunk lid, there's no detail, and the ubiquitous toolkit that was in the trunk lid of back then is not there. Taking a look at the interior, I'll go ahead and put a little bit more light in here again. You can see the detail is okay for the dash and the wheel and the pedals for that matter, but it is definitely let down by the cheesy plastic inflexible seat belts. I don't even know what they were thinking of or why they would have even put them in there, just because they look so bad. Center console looks decent. You can see that this particular one is an automatic, and I believe that they all were. I don't know if there was a manual offered in the 850i, which is probably another reason why it didn't sell so well. So anyway, that is my review of the BMW 850i by Maisto there. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Have a great day.